What's going on, guys? My name is Anthony Rodriguez over at VersatileAthletics.co, and welcome to my Road to 95 week number 12. This week we've reached a new milestone in our Road to 95. Finally broke 90, going from this right here, 76, just 12 weeks ago, to a 91. This is actually the video where I first threw my first 90 right here. It was super hype. It was a really good moment. What I haven't done in 5 years. I started doing this Road to 95 12 weeks ago, and in just 12 weeks, I've gone from 76 to 91 on the mound and the 97 on the pool now, as you guys saw last week, for those that tune in. All right, so let's dive into a lot of the differences that I've kind of seen already from, this is actually the week where I threw that 89, but this throw right here was after I think it was like 10 throws after, so I was already like burned out. This throw, if I remember correctly, was around the 86, and this is a 91. I know the angles are a little bit different, but we could definitely take out a lot of positive notes out from them. So I'm going to show you guys a lot of different things that I've kind of seen so far. And these could some extent make sense or not. Again, it's just the angle is a little bit different, but I was able to kind of pinpoint out a lot of major differences into them. So overall, just let me actually play this both. Regular speed. Really good movement. So far, the 91 mile an hour throw actually obviously looks a lot more clean than that 86 mile an hour throw. But hopping straight into a lot of the differences that I see. For one, a bigger leg kick, right? And I'm not here to tell everyone you need a bigger leg kick. You know, everybody's different. Some are good from the slot step, some are good medium leg kick, others are good, better, higher leg kick. For me, in this instance right now, a higher leg kick has kind of been producing a little bit more velocity. But my reasoning for this is because, like, if I have a higher leg kick, I can kind of buy in more time to kind of gather up more energy as I'm going down the mound. So, and that's one of the next biggest things that I saw. So as I'm already driving down to get into my hinge, I'm already separating. Like, if you see my glove arm on this left side and my glove arm on this right side, I'm still connected. So I'm holding a lot more tension or torque, rather say. Tension and torque could be the same thing into this back hinge. Now the next big thing that I kind of see is I'm shifting my back or the weight a little bit too much on this back foot. And on my 91 mile an hour throw, I kind of stay relatively the same throughout the whole line. So my shoulders stay even towards the target, while my 86, I'm leaning back here, which is potentially getting me stuck back here on this back hip. I don't really see it that much, but it is definitely a much bigger difference from 86 to a 91. As you guys can see, I stay relatively neutral, right and out into that front foot landing. Now the next big thing that I saw was that I had a much more quiet upper body and glove arm. So as my front foot is landing right here, you can even see, or even in the stride phase, my glove side for my 86 mile an hour throw starts to swim up a little bit. And on my 91 mile an hour throw, it just floats in until my front foot lands, and then it's just there holding tension. It's not doing any pulling. It's just there assisting everything that's going on back here. As you see the differences again. Hopefully next week I get some good velo off the mound. I'll definitely try to get a better angle off from this side so we can have a little bit more accurate talks and results. But from this is a much better position. You can even see it in my upper body. My upper body here on my 86 mile an hour throw is a little bit kind of awkward. It looks a little bit kind of like not all in sync or in line. And on this throw, like, everything just looks super strong. It's all up on the same plane, driving up forward. Now, my final thing that I did see that was a big difference, and this is actually something that I see in a lot of high velocity throwers, and is that they're very efficient at throwing behind the front leg. And if you actually kind of draw a line or had the angle as to like how much angle this I'm producing here to here, or kind of think of it just how much over the front leg I'm throwing compared to this, I'm throwing well more behind the front leg than this throw right here. As you can see, even my trunk is a little bit more upright. I have a larger angle here. Is not as like little or steep as, or tight, better say, as this angle here, where my throw literally happens even at release point. You can see my release point is almost happening in line with the front toe. In comparison to this, is reaching more out front, upper, straighter torso. Again, looking at the torso here, straighter torso, more out front could probably mean I'm probably leaking a lot of energy here and not conserving it as well as I am in this throw. But that's as far as the biggest difference that I've kind of seen within myself so far. If you guys are seeing something different, feel free to comment below. I'll definitely take a look at it and definitely consider it or address it on my next episode. Now, within this journey, I've been documenting a lot of stuff. I have a lot of notes, and I actually got a question from one of the kids that saw me throw 91 in person, and he was like, "Hey, you know what? Like, how did you throw 91? Like, how does it feel to throw 91, etc." And he's a high schooler, and he's like, you know, it's like very motivating to see you do it. And I just happen to think, you know, what are some things that you can tell me to help me throw 91? And after he said this, my mind literally ran with so many possible things that I could tell him. I try to come up with kind of the most precise, and this is not everything. I'm gonna come up with something better than this and more down to the point than this, but this is by far a lot of the things that have kind of had the biggest differences on me. Went from 76 to throwing 91. But to start off, posture. So having a proper alignment of the body ensures that you're able to produce force and transfer energy up the chain. So having a good walking gait, for example, or just proper alignment of the body would ensure that you're, one, every time you produce force, it transfers up efficiently up the chain. Because if you're having some tweaks, let's say, for example, in the hips, like you're having, left hip pain for whatever reason, and then your back starts to kind of skew up on that side, whatever, like your energy that you transfer, you will never be able to transfer up the chain efficiently. Your hips and your core are very important in transferring energy from the ground up. Second, knowing your motor preferences. Know how your body prefers to move gives you a clear roadmap on how to train. That's also been one of my biggest pieces, knowing my motor preferences. And I don't really explain those things a lot up on social media just because those are very, very deep concepts, and we actually refrain from telling the audience online a lot of these things because it could be very confusing. And you know how a lot of you athletes are, you guys get some info and you think I could figure it out on your own, and you will probably end up digging yourself in a much deeper hole than what it actually is. But knowing my motor preferences has allowed me to know and train what I actually need. So it completely stops the guessing game, which I actually say a lot. It stops the guessing game. Like, I know how I should be moving, I know what are the things I should look out for, and I know how I should be training and which muscles are the most important within my training. Training your fascia line. This is another concept that could go super deep into it, but I'm just going to touch up a lot of these things. Your body and your mind is one. So stop training upper lower, train full body. Another big issue that I see in the industry is a lot of guys are training upper lower and then full or upper lower. You know, it could go on and on with whatever you have on your in season. But the mind and the body is one. It's very important because there is no isolated parts within our body. We're not, like, if you think about the bicep doesn't just run from the shoulder to the elbow. It literally starts at the thumb, runs all the way up here through the pec. And that's a little bit more deep concepts into the fascia lines. Our fascia lines run everywhere around the body. So in whatever you do, you're constantly training the whole body. You're never training in isolation a certain muscle, if that makes sense. But training the full body, again, you want to think of it like when you perform. Do you throw with the full body, or one day you're throwing with the upper body and then another day you're throwing with the lower body? No, that doesn't make any sense. You're constantly throwing with the full body, so train the full body. All right, getting out the sagittal plane. This is another big one. Majority of the throw is happening on the frontal and transverse plane. We don't train it enough. So in the industry, we prescribe a lot of back squats, deadlift, bench presses. And by all means, don't get me wrong, this is really, really good. And everything has its time and its purpose. But over time, if that's all you focus on, you will never be able to unlock a much more potential that you have within your delivery. So the sagittal plane is literally lifting front to back. And if you look at the throw, majority of the throw happens on the frontal plane, which is going side to side, and the transverse plane, which is then the rotation component. We don't train enough side to side nor rotational components. So majority of the work is done in sagittal plane, which means if we're constantly training in the sagittal plane, our fibers, or think of it again as the fascia, it's constantly realigning itself. So you're gonna align the fascia to go forward instead of where you need to be, leaving off the table a lot of potential energy that you have to create. Train fast, throw medicine balls, do plyometrics, move heavyweight fast. This again ties up into the fascia lines. We're big on lifting big, move big weight, throw gas, whatever. Like, that doesn't make sense for everybody. And even for the people that it makes sense for, a lot of times lifting big is making them slower. Force is not the primary mover of speed. You need to find a good balance in the force and velocity curve to get power. So it's a good combination of force and speed to produce power. So throw more medicine balls, do plyometrics, learn to react quick, and then rebound as well. That's going to help your velocity a lot. Get out the sport. Learning a new physical skill improves motor and movement control. That is very, very important. In my own journey, not only this one, but just before when I used to train and play baseball like as full time, I actually started throwing harder when I learned how to dance. I've spoken to a lot of other high velocity throwers, and if you know a high velocity thrower yourself, and if you ask them, what are other things you do outside of baseball, like those are by far like the most athletic kids that you will see. I know other people who juggle balls to kind of train their different neural paths within the brain. Other people do martial arts. Others play basketball, play a lot of different sports. They teach you a lot of things on movement control. So once you come back into the sport, you can find your way around movements and everything makes much more sense to you. That's a really, really big, important part. Don't just be a diehard baseman if you want to be whatever, but there's a lot of other skills that you can improve that will train your mind and will help you learn better motor controls. You can even play the guitar. That's as good as it gets. Rhythm. 85% of velocity comes from timing and tempo. Next 15% is intent. So if you've been following along with my other Road to 95 episodes, I speak a lot about timing and tempo. The difference between a 90-mile-an-hour throw and a 100-mile-an-hour throw is not a big difference. It's literally when the hips get open to when the trunk fires, etc. A lot of different things to come on into this. And I like to say, think of like Bruce Lee or a lot of these martial arts guys. How can they break a very thick board from ground, from literally like no distance, right? They're not maxing out how fast how hard they can hit it. They're literally harnessing all their energy into this into this one hand and timing it perfectly to have a quick snap and break the board. Maybe, hopefully that makes a little sense for you guys, but it's essentially the same thing within pitching. You want to time yourself up, relax yourself into those deep positions, and fire at the right time. The next 15% will just be intent. Then have the applied intent into it. Throw hard more often. Your body doesn't know what fast is, so you must teach it. Hence, this is why I do a lot of pull downs. This is why I'm literally throwing 3 to 4 times high intent throughout the week. I don't recommend it for everybody. It does take a big toll on the arm, but this is why you got to keep your recovery down to the T. Analytics. Track progress, velocity, and new things you tried. This has also been really good, but you must be careful for the type of player that you are. If you cannot handle analytics and you get paralyzed by it, I think the saying was analysis or paralysis by analysis. If you cannot handle that, then have somebody handle that for you. But I was constantly tracking my progress. I was constantly, even in my warm-ups, I was gunning, radaring how fast I was throwing. That's how I've kind of found out a lot of big pieces into what I needed, because I felt a certain movement. I looked back into the gun and it wasn't the desired outcome. So, and then I have other throws where I did feel really good. I look back and it was a desired outcome. So I try to keep feeding onto it. And even how I track up my whoop band sleeps, a lot of those stuff, you learn so much about your body that you know how your body responds and you know what you need to do to it in order to respond in its optimal capacity. Your environment. If you surround yourself with athletes who throw hard, then you will probably throw hard. Think of this as being a millionaire, right? This is not 100% guaranteed, but if you grow up around friends who have very good mentality, they constantly do the work, they don't complain, and if you go around people who make really good money and they teach you how to make good money, then you will probably make good money. Think of it the same way in pitching. It's exactly the same thing. If you look and if you train around a lot of high velocity throwers, then your eyes are constantly seeing high velocity and good quality mechanics. Instead of training with your buddy who throws 69 and your eyes are constantly seeing slow pitches and terrible mechanics, then your mind will start to kind of believe and ingrain those patterns within it. Fun fact, your mind is very powerful, by the way. So eat, sleep well. This is something I actually need to do. And I have a lot of more topics into this in a later episode where I could really go deep into the sleep. I've kind of discovered some new things into it, but I will leave that up for another episode. The better you recover, the better you perform. You want your recovery to be much higher than your strain. In my case, that was the biggest issue. But don't get me wrong, I still did take a lot of my mobility and training within the gym and my nutrition. I haven't eaten out in like around 2 weeks, and that has been a big difference in how I've been feeling and how I've been able to produce energy. Believe you will do it. The ones who believe they can or can't are usually right. All right, everything starts in the mind. If you cannot see yourself doing it, then you will probably not do it. All right, the mind is the best asset that you would ever have. So if you believe you can, you would do it. You would throw 90 or 95, whatever your goal is, 100, and you will find a way to do it. That has literally been my biggest driver. I have a lot of people asking me, like, how are you doing this? Like, you're going to tread 3 times a week, waking up at 5 in the morning, driving 3 hours, for those days. I'm working in person, trying to run an online business, training athletes to do the same thing, doing my own Road to 95, which is taking up 3 to 4 hours of training per day, editing video, speaking to a lot of athletes, doing programs, being on meetings, etc. So it's a lot of things. But the biggest driver for this, for me, was the want to do it. Like, I wanted to do it. There was no if or and or buts. I wake up every single day, and the first thing that comes to my mind, I go through my whole routine, and it's just, I want to throw hard. I want to figure this out. I want to crack the code. I want to give it out to a lot of athletes and help them in their case. Lastly, if you follow us, then you will probably throw 90. We give away a lot of free information, and if you've been one of our athletes or are currently one of our athletes, then you know what I'm speaking about. I literally grab you from where you come from, and we turn you into something much more deeper than that. Like, everything just starts to make more sense. Your velocity starts to improve in short amount of time, etc. But that's about it for kind of my notes to help you guys. If you guys want, you guys could. Well, I wouldn't say if you guys want. I suggest you guys follow this if you're wanting to throw hard, and if you definitely need more help into how you can implement this, you already know. Go over on the link in the description, versatileathletics.co, submit an inquiry, or you could just DM us on versatileathletics.co on Instagram. Now, speaking about the drills that I've been doing, I haven't really changed anything much. I've literally kept on the same drills that I had from the day that I started. Here and there, I kind of mess around with like different feelings and a lot of tidal tank stuff. But just to show you guys, I haven't really done much into that stuff. Everything has literally stayed the same from when I first started within my drill. So I just keep building onto it. Now, my sleep. All right. When I threw 90, 13% recovery, and as I told you guys on the later or earlier this video, I told you guys I kind of discovered a lot of things with my sleep, and I'll definitely love to share that with you guys. Maybe a lot of you guys can relate to this, but that would definitely be in future episodes. My sleep this first 3 days was not good. I literally had I believe 10 hours of sleep in 3 days. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. And actually my velocity started going down for the rest of the week. I pulled down. I didn't show you guys the pull down, that's on me, but the pull down wasn't good. It was at 89, but I was actually happy with it. That was actually yesterday, because I look back and my body felt like absolute crap. I was super fatigued, and I'm like, you know what? If I'm throwing this and I'm super fatigued, like, you know, when I feel good, like there's gonna be some trouble. So not so bad into it, but I'm gonna do my best to be in the green this whole week. If I'm in the green this whole week, I could definitely feel that I will definitely get another PR again. But I have. If I want to throw 95, I gotta fix this stuff. I know I've been saying it for a lot of episodes, but I really gotta hold myself accountable. Go to sleep early. You know, leave whatever other stuff I gotta do for whatever time. If I'm not in bed by a certain time, then you know it's a no go. So now that's about it. That's everything I got for you guys. Is this a little bit of a longer video than before, but you know it was all worth it. There's a lot of good information. We finally broke 90. Hopefully you guys can get a lot of these free info that I've detailed to you guys, implementing yourself. If you have issues implementing or you want to know more about this, again, feel free to go over at versatileathletics.co, submit an inquiry, let us know what's bothering you, what do you need help with, and we'll figure out if you're a good fit for our program. Now stay tuned, really pumped for this next week. Hopefully we could get a 92, 93, whatever it may be. So let's get this work, and I'll see you guys next week.